Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
A standard or typical example. He is the prototype of good breeding. A standard or typical example. A brief abstract, as of an article or book. An iconic mental representation. Her imagination forced images upon her too awful to contemplate. A visual representation, of an object or scene or person or abstraction, produced on a surface. A movie is a series of images projected so rapidly that the eye integrates them. A representation of a person, especially in the form of sculpture. The emperor's tomb had his image carved in stone. Jungian psychology, a personal facade that one presents to the world. A public image is as fragile as Humpty Dumpty. A standard or typical example. He provided America with an image of the good father. Imagine, conceive of, see in one's mind. Language used in a figurative or non-literal sense. Mathematics, the set of values of the dependent variable for which a function is defined. The image of f, x, equals x squared is the set of all non-negative real numbers if the domain of the function is the set of all real numbers. Someone who closely resembles a famous person, especially an actor. She's the very image of her mother. Render visible, as by means of MRI. The general impression that something, a person or organization or product, presents to the public. Although her popular image was contrived, it served to inspire music and pageantry. The class of all items that can be substituted into the same position, or slot, in a grammatical sentence, are in paradigmatic relation with one another. A standard or typical example. Systematic arrangement of all the inflected forms of a word. The generally accepted perspective of a particular discipline at a given time. He framed the problem within the psychoanalytic paradigm. A representative form or pattern. I profited from his example. Something to be imitated. An occurrence of something. But there is always the famous example of the Smiths. An item of information that is typical of a class or group. This patient provides a typical example of the syndrome. Punishment intended as a warning to others. They decided to make an example of him. A task performed or problem solved in order to develop skill or understanding. You must work the examples at the end of each chapter in the textbook. A person who poses for a photographer or painter or sculptor. The president didn't have time to be a model, so the artist worked from photos. Construct a model of. Model an airplane. A representative form or pattern. A hypothetical description of a complex entity or process. The computer program was based on a model of the circulatory and respiratory systems. Worthy of imitation. Model citizens. Representation of something, sometimes on a smaller scale. A woman who wears clothes to display fashions. Something to be imitated. A model of clarity. Someone worthy of imitation. Every child needs a role model. The act of representing something, usually on a smaller scale. Create a representation or model of. Form in clay, wax, etc. Model a head with clay. Assume a posture as for artistic purposes. Plan or create according to a model or models. A type of product. His car was an old model. Display clothes as a mannequin. Model the latest fashion. Make more concise. Direct one's attention on something. Be cooked until very little liquid is left. Make central. Compress or concentrate. Cook until very little liquid is left. The desired mineral that is left after impurities have been removed from mined ore. A concentrated example of something. The concentrate of contemporary despair. A concentrated form of a foodstuff. The bulk is reduced by removing water. Draw together or meet in one common center. These groups concentrate in the inner cities. Make denser, stronger, or purer. Concentrate juice. An adult insect produced after metamorphosis. Psychoanalysis. An idealized image of someone, usually a parent, formed in childhood.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.